Well, hey there. Good to I can't see you, but welcome back to VG Emporium. As you can see, today's feature is Songic Heghog. That is not to be funny, it's more just because that is how my nephew would say Sonic the Hedgehog about a year or so ago, because he was having trouble forming words correctly, so it would just come out in just one burst. Songic Heghog! And you'll actually be meeting him. He's a special guest somewhere halfway in the episode, and it's part of the reason why I did this episode. The other part is because, well, it's been a few weeks, but Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the movie has been out, and it's pretty good. It did not disappoint. It actually had some references in there. I think one of my favorite ones was the Mean Bean Cafe. Ha-ha, hee-hee, ha-ha, ha. So yes, I'm going to be sharing with you. What is wrong with my mouth today? Be sharing with you music from various Sonic the Hedgehog games, but they're not going to be the usual kind of like, big bombastic, big famous ones or classic ones that, everybody knows. It's going to be kind of more of some of the ones that I really like, and then also some weirdo ones. So like, take this one for example. This is it was the title theme and then the options screen menu from Sonic Pocket Adventure on the Neo Geo Pocket Color. And the music was arranged by Maitaro and Takushi Hiyamuta. And then the music was originally composed by a huge list of peoples, which we'll get to later because I'm going to be featuring a song from Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which these tracks are arranged from. So, Maitaro this is the only credit I can find for the fella. If anybody else knows, let me know at vgemporium.gmail. And then Takushi Hiyamuta started with doing Air Duel, Super R-Type, Image Fight 2, Neo Turf Masters, Metal Slugs 1, 2, 3, and X, King of Fighters R1 and 2 on the Neo Geo Pocket, and then Half Minute Hero on the PSP, which is a very interesting game. So now, Sonic Pocket Adventure. This was a game, like I said, on the Neo Geo Pocket and Neo Geo Pocket Color, and it was kind of like the style of it, the look of it was inspired by, Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. So, that's kind of like the beginning of like the new modern look of the characters. And as for how the game looks, it's kind of like a more advanced version of what Sonic on the Sega Master System and Game Gear were. Because it's like a little bit more vibrant colors, a little more animations, but still kind of like a flat color, really not a lot of shading, 8-bit looking, and is somewhat of a precursor to how Sonic Advance would look in a couple years, because this was released in 99, Sonic Advance in 2001, so it's kind of like building up to that point, which actually makes sense because the several members of the SNK dev team that worked on this game would go on to form DIMPS, which would then go on to create a lot of the handheld Sonic games. So, little fun facts for you. And there's a fact that they were actually having fun making this game because not only is there the main game in it, but there's also 3 different modes in there. There is Trial Room, or they're referred to as rooms. So there's trial room, which is like time trial, so you can go and like, get your best time through a stage. And there's advanced mode, which requires you to get 50 rings at the end of the stage. There's a duel room, where you can play PvP. I can't believe I used that phrase. God, I don't like it. Play against another player with another Neo Geo Pocket, and you kind of race through the stages. So like how Sonic 2 and 3 had those kind of like extra racing stages called Sonic Rush. A little foreshadowing to a future game there. And then the last one is Puzzle Room, which is where you solve puzzles, and it's one of those where image ones. So you gotta move the images around until you actually get the bigger image, solve 3 of them, and you unlock the sound test mode, which is what you really want. That's what we all really want. It's just the sound test mode. And hey, the basic gist of the story too. Paraphrasing Rice Pirates Sonics. Damn you, Robotniks! You told all my friends to well act! Robotniks! I give you my vengeance! Yes. So now, before we move on, I'm going to tell you about the sound here. So, what the Neo Geo Pocket and Neo Geo Pocket Color used was something called the T6W28, which was basically 2 SN76489 sound chips shoved together. And what this is, it's basically, 3 square wave channels and the 1 noise channel. And it's 2 of these, so you got 8 channels going on. But most games only use the 1. And maybe use the other one for sound effects, I think. I'm not quite sure. I know in this game, the main game parts, like the music is made with the 1 chip, and then the sound effects are made with the other, so you don't lose any of the music bits while the sound effects are going on, which is cool. But this particular song that's playing right now, the option screen, actually uses both chips for the music, though I think it only uses the 1 extra channel. I think. I don't know. You can kind of, check it out for yourself, It's pretty a cool thing, It's a cool thing. I probably would have really liked to have had one of these back when I was a kiddo, because I remember seeing it my local game shop called Game Country. They actually had a few Neo Geo Pockets in there, one of the more translucent plastic ones, and I was like wondering, what is that thing? I've never seen it before. It's too expensive for me as this kiddo who has no money, so I'm not gonna get that thing. I'm just gonna go and rent some time to go play on their PlayStation. Cool times. So now that we got this intro out of the way, we're going to get on to one of my personal favorite tracks from the classic Sonic games. So this is going to be Chrome Gadget from Sonic 3. And the list of composers on this one is long, ridiculously long, but I'm going to tell you. So here we go. We got Brad Buxer, Cirocco Jones, Bobby Brooks, Darryl Ross, Geoff Grace, Doug Grigsby, Sachio Ogawa, Tatsuyuki Maeda, and Jun Senoue. Oh boy! Oh yeah, that jam was Chrome Gadget from Sonic 3, composed by all those fellas that I had just mentioned before the track, because I'm not going through that again. Though you may have noticed that I missed one name on that list, and that's the obvious one. It's Michael Jackson. He had some involvement with the soundtrack, though, of course, some things that had come up at the time, primarily some events that happened on his property with some certain folks. He had his involvement just completely vanished, but all the other American names that were on there that are people that worked with him, as far as providing all his music, making his music and stuff, stayed on to kind of do some things, namely like Ice Cap Zone was Brad Buxer's whole thing. That's like one of his original songs. Like the end credits theme is kind of like, basically like a sped up version of one of Michael Jackson's later songs. I'm just mostly kind of going off this, like off the top of my head, kind of off of memory, and I may be getting some of this wrong. Maybe most of it's right. I don't know. Hopefully people won't come at me with pitchforks and torches, but I want to say that most of the music was done by the Japanese composer, so I'm going to tell you a bit about them, because the others, they were just involved doing some things. I don't know. Here we go. So Sachio Ogawa, he got his start converting music for the Sega, Space Harrier onto the Sega Master System. He did music for Super Thunderblade on the Genesis. I want to say he did the BIOS music for Sega CD. Let's see. J-League Pro Striker, Dark Wizard, Sonic 3 and Knuckles, The Hybrid Front. Let's see. Sega Bass Fishing in the arcade. Virtua Fighter 4. Let's see. Quest of D. Outrun 2 Special Tour in the arcade. Yakuza. He did For Whose Sake on that one. And then last credit is Mario and Sonic at the London 2012 Olympic Games on the 3DS. Tatsuyuki Maeda, he's going to show up later in the show for another one of the songs, so we're going to wait until then for him. So now, Jun Senoue. We got started here on this game, as well as and Knuckles. Metalhead as well. Did Worldwide Soccer, Sega International Victory Goal. He's on the sound staff for that. Sonic 3D Blast. Daytona USA Deluxe. Did some music and remixing on that. Sonic Adventure as sound director. Did Sonic Shuffle as voice acting supervisor. Sound director for Sonic Adventure 2 as well. And then going on to all these modern Sonic games all the way up through like the mid 2000s. And Super Smash Bros. Music arrangement. Sonic Free Riders, Sonic Generations. I'm just kind of going up the list here. It's just Sonic, Puyo Puyo Chronicles. Sonic Mania as audio engineer. And then the last credit I'm just going to go off here is Sonic Colors Ultimate. That supposed dumpster fire I keep hearing. I never played it, so I don't know. This guy has done a lot more music than I just said here. It's a big list. And yeah, it's a big one. A lot of Sonic, a lot of Sega. Now that we've had the meat, it's time to get to the taters as to why I love this track here. Whereas the rest of the music for the game is still really good. It's like, that kind of like that change over to that New Jack Swing sound because of the Americans. And then, like the Japanese kind of picking it up with some of their J-pop sensibilities in there. It was still kind of like a weird, kind of like a jarring shift to go from, the J-popness of Sonic 2 and then to this kind of New Jack Swingy sound. It was, back at the time as a kid, I was like, what is this different sound? What is this different look of Sonic? What is happening? Why it doesn't look like the Sonic I remember playing before? But of course I got used to it all and everything. But yeah, for some reason, like, when I went to go play the versus modes or like, the race modes or whatever you want to call it, challenge mode, something like that. All the music in those tracks kind of struck me as like, they had a somewhat different sound from the rest of the game. And, so like, and this one in particular is, I don't know why, it just is one of those ones I would just go back to almost all the time. I would just like turn it on, just play it, and sometimes just sit there and listen to it. I couldn't explain it. I still can't explain it. It's just something about it is just intrinsically just so appealing to my brain. I love it. I love it so much. And after doing some reading and trying to find out which one of those three composers did this, I found I'm not the only one that thought about this track this way. So that was a cool thing, kind of some validation there. I also read some things saying that, it was a shame that it wasn't actually used in like the main game, but I feel it doesn't quite fit in with like the, the main playthrough soundtrack, that all kind of fits together in a way, whereas this probably doesn't quite, it just stands alone on its, on its own. And, it's really good that way. And also, kind of a shame that it hasn't really been like reused in other games, as far as I know. I haven't played many other modern Sonic games since Heroes, and that I didn't play much of. But like I said, I think it just stands on its own. It's good where it's at, and remixes of it are really good. Like the fan community remixes and stuff. So I don't know. This one's just special. It's special, unexplainably special, undeniably special. You can't tell me otherwise. If you disagree, then there's other Sonic musics that you like. They can go listen to, and you can go listen to it while I listen to this one. So that's a fun thing. And up next is something I wish was a fun thing, but it just didn't quite hit the mark. Up next, we got Sonic Room for Sonic Shuffle on the Dreamcast, composed by Hidenobu Otsuki, Ryo Fukuda, Takeo Suzuki, Yoshitaka Hirota, and Kazumi Mitome. So many names. You just listened to Sonic Room from Sonic Shuffle, composed by Hidenobu Otsuki, Ryo Fukuda, Takeo Suzuki, Yoshitaka Hirota, and Kazumi Mitome. So why choose a track from Sonic Shuffle? Well, why not? It's such a wacky soundtrack. If you haven't ever listened to it, it's so strange. It's like a mixture of lounge, drum and bass, ambient, electronics, music's all around. It's a very interesting soundtrack, to say the least. So now, what is Sonic Shuffle? Well, it was a Dreamcast game trying to cash in on the train that Mario Party had started, but hey, Sega was too slow on making it, and they missed the train. And unfortunately, it was on the Dreamcast, which only lasted about 2 to 3 years, which is a very, very sad story for another day. But yep, there you have it. It's basically a Mario Party wannabe. It's instead of dice, it uses cards, and you get to choose from Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, or Amy to play as. Just those 4. And I think there's a couple other characters like Carbuncle or some kind of fairy things that you can. Whatever. But yeah, there's mini games. There's battles. Like, you actually meet up, like, enemies that you can battle and damage with your cards, like, depending on how you draw. And then, yeah, it's just not a lot going on with it. It's unfortunately very just dull is probably the word to use here. Probably one of the more exciting things happens is when you land on a Robotnik space, and he pulls up a wheel, and it says, ah! And then when it lands on something, it just says, "This is what I'll do to you." And it happens. You lose your rings. You continue. And so now the point when this music plays is actually a part of the menu called Sonic Room, which is basically just a room where Sonic is just sitting, and he's just sitting there, kind of going back and forth with the music, like maybe swinging a bit. He's just staring, and then, you know, all the other characters will kind of show up in the window in the background, kind of do something. You know, Tail will be like, hey, and that's it. There's the fish tank, little fish in there, probably a reference to Seamen, I want to say. And then there's a box where you can play all the mini games you've unlocked by playing through the game. Lucky you. And then there's but most importantly, there's a sound test mode. So you could go to the stereo boombox there and just listen to all this crazy ass music. And who made all this music? Well, let's get into them fellas, them fellers, them fall at Waba. Really have no idea where this energy is coming from. So first up, we got Hidenobu Kalta Otsuki. And I think they got their, or at least the first thing I could find was Bomberman 64 Second Attack. And then this game, and that seems to have done a lot of like arrangements for Squaresoft games, like, you know, music. So like, you know, Chrono Trigger arranged, Bahamut Lagoon arranged, Xenogears, Oimatsu's Best Selection, did a Mitsuda vocal things, Xenosaga, Color of Light, and the latest thing I could find was Final Fantasy 9 original soundtrack revival disc. And a lot of these is just like an audio and engineer, so I imagine that's probably the role he played for Sonic Shuffle. Next we got Ryo Fukuda, and most of what I could find is Sonic Shuffle and Shadow Hearts. So now Takeo Suzuki, again, Sonic Shuffle is the only one video game credit I could find, though I did find another one, I don't know if it's the same guy, who has done production coordination on a bunch of jazz and fusion albums. So we got Freddie Hubbard Mistral, Jaco Pastorius Big Band, Twins 1, and the Jazz Tet Voices All, you know, just to name a few that I found. Which actually kind of fits because this is a jazz-inspired soundtrack. Now Yoshitaka Hirota, now we got some stuff here. So same for him, he started doing Bomberman 64, The Second Attack, did Fossile, Sonic Shuffle, the Shadow Hearts series, he did a few of those. Hanasuka DS, Gardening Life, DK, Jungle Climber. Let's see, Start Yoga with Tipness on your DS. The Glory of Heracles, Half Minute Hero, The Second Coming. Super Monkey Ball, Banana Splits. And then the last credit I could find is Eglia, Legend of the Red Cap. But now here's a bonus card for you. He has done sound design for a lot of Squaresoft games. So Final Fantasy VI, Live Alive, Chrono Trigger, Seiken Densetsu 3, Bahamut Lagoon, Final Fantasy VII, Front Mission 2, Parasite Eve, Chrono Cross, and Kodoka. So now our list ends with Kazumi Mitome. And they got their start at Squaresoft as well, doing a Romancing Saga 2 as sound staff, Live Alive, Final Fantasy 3, Seiken Densetsu 3, and then would go on to be part of the Front Mission Gun Hazard sound effects team. Did sound effects for Xenogears and Threads of Fate. Let's see, worked as a sound editor on Legend of Mana, composer for Dive Alert, Becky's version, did Sonic Shuffle, Tentai Kibukawa, Ryosuke Jikenten, Kamen Gen, something rathers, Luminous Arc as a composer, Sands of Destruction, Thexdar Neo as a sound composer, and then last credit was Legend of Mana, most likely as the Gubongi Wongi, man. More than half of this portion of this thing was talking about the people involved with the music in this game. Just goes to show how interesting Sonic Shuffle was, huh? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But we're gonna get into something way more interesting. Actually, the big portion that is actually the reason why I'm doing this episode is that we're gonna have the interview of sorts with my nephew, talking about Sonic the Hedgehog. He is a boy, very obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog. He really likes Sonic more than I did as a kid. You know, I like the games, but he just loves the character of Sonic. Beyond the games, even more so, crazily. He has multiple stuffed Sonics. He has a bunch of Sonic clothings. So many Sonic toys, missing limbs and heads. And actually, one of Sonic's feet is up on my roof right now. And boy howdy does he like to go fast. Fast like Songic. So first I'm going to share a recording I took of immediately after seeing Sonic 2. You know, he's pretty buzzed on the movie, but he's also kind of out of it because it was 10 o'clock at night when we got out of there. Immediately followed by another recording of me just sitting down with him and having him just talk at the mic about Sonic and whatever came to his mind. So please enjoy the ramblings of my very energetic and excitable nephew. Yo, okay. Ethan, we just watched Sonic 2. What'd you think of it?
I don't know.
What'd you think of Sonic 2?
I saw it with Super Sonic.
Yeah, there was Super Sonic?
Yeah, it's being Dr. Eggman's robot.
Whoa. So, what was it that you really liked about the movie, though?
I just like Knuckles with Tail and Songic.
Yeah, all three of them are the Heroes team.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But not the Dr. Eggman.
Not the Dr. Eggman, no, he's that Robotnik. That evil Robotnik! He turned all the friends to robot!
Okay. Oh, I gotta go to my dad's.
Okay. But you like that movie?
Yeah.
Cool.
Bye.
Alright, so tell me, what's your name?
Ethan!
Ethan, and who are you?
I am a kid like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes, see, I'm sitting right next to Sonic the Hedgehog right now, in the flesh with his very strange haircut. This is my nephew, Ethan, if you can't quite tell.
And his name is Uncle AJ.
That's me. So now I'm going to ask you some questions about Sonic. As to why do you like Sonic?
I am Sonic.
I get that, but why do you like him so much to call yourself Sonic?
Because he just absolutely runs so fast.
Why do you think he likes to run so fast?
Because he gotta run away for the robot, Dr. Eggman.
The robot Dr. Eggman, the Robotnik Man.
Yeah, and Knuckles gotta help him.
And Knuckles?
Yeah. Knuckles gotta punch him out when Super Sonic just get those emeralds when Sonic just transforms Super Sonic.
Super Sonic?
Yep.
Is that true?
Yeah!
Oh, man.
And Super Sonic can actually kill the little robot one.
The Metal Sonic?
Yep.
Damn. You know, Metal Sonic's pretty cool, though.
This one gets
Yeah.
in the robot Dr. Eggman.
Yeah, because Dr. Robotnik is a robot
No,
man.
robot!
Robot?
Yep.
But he turned himself into robot?
Uh-huh.
You eating some chitin. He's eating some Kinder treats. You got a peekaboo chick egg for Easter. That's when we're recording this. So now tell me. Do you play what Sonic games do you play?
I played the one is racing.
Racing?
Yeah, the racing car one.
Racing car one. Sonic Racing?
Yeah.
But not Sonic R.
Yeah.
Not that one. Not Sonic Drift? Sonic Racing.
Yes.
What other one do you play?
I played the one with the people's run so fast.
Run so fast.
Yeah, where there's water swinging.
Is one of the ones you also like to play Sonic Generations, I think? The one with Baby Sonic?
Oh, yep. In the with the dodgy one.
In the what?
In the with the dodgy one.
The daddy one?
Yeah.
You're not making any sense to me, kid.
I'm just asking you the Baby Sonic game.
The Baby Sonic game. You
Yeah,
know what
with the dad.
when I played when I was you like a kid, when I was a kid like you,
Yeah.
when I was a little kid that didn't have such quite a big head as you.
Yep.
I played the original Sonic. I played Sonic 1, 2, 3. Though the first one I played was 2. And I like those. But I wasn't obsessed with the character as much as you are. It's very strange.
I want to play with the one Gadget 2 with the Dr. Eggman robot. And Knuckles and Tails and Sonic. And Super Sonic with the emerald.
Super Sonic and the Emeralds.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember the first time I got all those emeralds in Sonic 3 and I turned Sonic into Super Sonic? Kind of blew my mind. Went from blue to gold. What happened there?
I want to fight, I just want to fight Eggman with the robot. And Senoue too, and the little scary guy. Sonic the Hedgehog.
Scary guy Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, Sonic.exe.
Oh, Sonic EXE, yes.
Yeah,
Sonic Duck Exe.
Yeah, we need to have 2 throwers to fight him off. Huh.
You can't fight off Sonic Exe. From what I've seen,
He can invisible.
Yeah, Sonic EXE is invisible.
But you're gonna be Knuckles because you're the strong.
I'm Knuckles because I'm the strong.
Yeah, because you do this.
Yes, I can. I learned a little bit of how to get some good punch from the Mamba Chawumba. I couldn't quite get the Fist of the Pachuca down, but he learned me how to punch really good. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, no, that's really loud. You're gonna hurt the people's ears. Now you're doing it to the eagle. This is very good. This is going swimmingly, folks. So, Ethan, so now this show that I do is all about video game music. What are do you like any Sonic music?
I like any Sonic music.
Any Sonic music.
And Huggy Wuggy.
And Huggy Wuggy.
Yeah, can I talk about
Huggy Wuggy. No, we're here to talk about Sonic. Huggy Wuggy does not exist in Sonic. I know, it's horrible, but it's the way.
Ow!
Why did your dad give you such a bad haircut? It's horrible. Anyway. But yeah, this was Ethan. He's 5 years old. He just destroyed his little build eagle thing against the weird squeaky chicken. He's just threw it towards the cat box. He's 6 years old. He's 6 years old. A 6-year-old child with a big head that loves Sonic. And he's my nephew.
And I like Huggy Wuggy.
Yeah, Huggy Wuggy doesn't exist.
Can we talk about Huggy Wuggy?
No. There you have it, folks. A child of the modern day future of today, that is 2022 of this day. And the kiddos in this modern day future are still really into Sonic, amongst other things. Just as many of us were 30 years ago when this little blue ball of speed showed up. You know, the main difference being that, when he first showed up, there was nothing else like him, ever. And then, of course, the clones would come, and then now we're up to this modern day future where Ethan's really into him, and most of the games aren't that great. But hey, at least now we have an okay movie and a pretty dang good movie. Who would have thunk it? An actually enjoyable video game movie. But yes, I will definitely be having Ethan back on here for possibly Act 2 of this zone, but we'll definitely have to get him not after a big old crazy day all hopped up on sugar. Hopefully, to kind of have him a little more focused. Now, as for his game music choice, we heard him mention a few games, Sonic Racing, Sonic EXE, that's definitely not going to happen. Herbie brought up Sonic Generations and confusingly Baby Sonic. Now to explain that one, Sonic Generations is, the game where you get to play as both either modern Sonic or classic Sonic. And, Ethan knows modern Sonic as, that's Sonic the Hedgehog. And then he sees, classic Sonic, he's like, this one's small and chubby, Baby Sonic. So anytime he sees, the classic Sonic design, that's Baby Sonic. And there's no changing his mind on that. I've tried many times trying to tell him, no, that is the classic Sonic. The modern Sonic's like the Baby Sonic because he's younger, newer. But nope. The small, classic, smug, ultimate tude face Sonic from yesteryears is Baby Sonic to him. So that explains that one for you. But I think we'll go with the first one he mentioned, which is Sonic Racing, which I'm going to take as being Sonic and Sega All-Star Racing. But I'm going to choose a track from the transformed version because that is the most recent one that I would imagine that he would have played. So we're going to go with Ocean View by Richard Jacques or Jacques, whichever you prefer. That was Ocean View from Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing Transformed by Richard Jacques or Jacques, whichever you prefer. And that was most definitely a mashup of the Japanese opening for Sonic CD, You Can Do Anything, and the song Can You Feel the Sunshine from Sonic R. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat that this kind of music really isn't my cup of tea, just that kind of, just like 4 to the floor, kind of housey kind of electronic music. But, this is okay. Especially like, kind of like how they use the melodies there, but Now, as far as the game goes, it's racing. It's kind of a kart racing game like Mario Kart, but more like Diddy Kong Racing, where you can actually change the kind of vehicle you're using, but instead of having to go to an elephant to change it, you can just change it, I think, mid-play or mid-stage or something like that. I don't know. I'm not really looking into this. It's not really, really not care about this game. And actually, I never even played it. This, I think, is the game he played before my sister moved back out here from Utah a couple years ago. So, yeah. And just from the little I've seen of it, you get to play, as Ryo from Shenmue, Akira from Virtua Fighter, Ooh La La from Space Channel 5, Amigo from Samba de Amigo, just amongst so many other Sonic classic characters. Just racing and racing and racing. But now I'm going to tell you a bit about Richard Jacques. Let's see, this fella has done Dark Side, provided the European versions for F1 Challenge, Shinobi X, Sonic 3D Blast, and then he did the music for Sonic R, which kind of explains why he's doing this one, kind of his thing, racing games. Contributed to Jet Set Radio, did add Jet Set Radio Future. Outrun 2 did arrangements. Did things for these things called iToy Play 2 and 3. Probably the PS2 devices. Weirdo times. Did Sega Rally 2006. Outrun 2006. Mass Effect. Conflict Denied Ops. Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood. Sonic and the Black Knight contributed to. Alice in Wonderland. An Adventure Beyond the Mirror. Sonic Free Riders, Forza Motorsports 4, Little Big Planet 2, this game, Sonic Boom, Rise of Lyric, ooh, a bunch of Sonic Boom games, wee-hoo, did a recording engineer for Sonic Forces, and then the last thing I could find for him is Guardians of the Galaxy, did composition. So now I've got you another weird piece of Sonic music here. Except it's not quite the Sonic you know. This is Sonic with a Y on the MSX2. The track I'm going to play for you is Ruins, composed by Jorth Shap. That was Ruins from Sonic with a Y on the MSX2, composed by Jorth Shap, also known as Jorito and Soundwave. And I gotta tell you, this game here has a pretty interesting history. So what it is a more of a fan game than a pirated or bootleg game. So like, cause they're created their own original levels, obviously their own original music, but it's all like, Sonic game, and it looks a lot like, again, the Sega Master System Game Gear kind of look version of Sonic. And as far as I can tell on a lot of MSX resource pages and all, this was the first and only game developed and published by Analogy, a MSX team based out of Spain, made up of Elvis Gallegos and Manuel Pazos in 1995. And actually in my research, I found a MSX forum where one of the guys posted a picture of both of them at an event called Tilburg in 1996, where they're demoing and selling this game, and for 35 euros. Pretty cool little thing there. And as far as what they've done individually, for Elvis Gallegos, I couldn't find really anything. I found some links to some guy who was part of some football stuff, football, and but maybe one thing I saw was like he did some translations of other games. And as for Manuel Pazos, he's been involved with the MSX community, it looks like, doing a lot of remakes and conversions of games. Just to name a few, he did La Abadia del Crimen, Alien 8, Gomi Defensor Medieval, Night Lore, Mutants of the Deep, and The Sword of Lana, which probably doesn't mean much of anything for us here in the States, because this is all in Spain and England and Europe, basically just Europe, because of that whole MSX scene, which we never got, which would have been a cool thing, because they had all these microcomputers over there, and they never experienced a game crash. In fact, they had fucking a booming game community, even community made games, like people just programming their own games and just putting it out there. I mean, look at the Dizzy series created by I can't remember the name of those twins, but they just. And there's me getting a text breaking me out of my ramblings. So why don't I tell you about this music here? As you can hear, it's of the FM variety. It is made using the YM2413 sound chip, though there is a version of this soundtrack made using the YMF278B, also called the OPL4, also known as Moon Sound. And boy howdy is this thing a beast. It has both FM and PCM sample capabilities. So with the FM side of things, you can have up to 18 2-op FM channels, up to 6 4-op FM channels with 6 2-op FM, 15 2-op plus 5 FM drums, and 6 4-op with 3 2-op channels and the 5 FM drums. And then the PCM synthesis side of it is you can have up to 24 channels going at once. So that's a lot going on there. And the man who used this to make the music, this would be Jorth Shap, Jorito, Soundwave, who has been involved with the MSX since 1988, though he didn't start actually creating content for it until 1993, and he's just been contributing music to things, so like the future discs for Dutch Disc Magazine. He's done from 10 all the way up to 46 between 93 and 2022, so today. He's still making MSX music today. And then of course did music for this game, Sonic. Did another one for another fan game, not quite bootleg game, called Bomberman, which is basically Bomberman, but for the MSX. That was made using that Moon Sound chip, and it's a pretty epic sounding soundtrack. Maybe I should play it on the show at some point. Not today, though. This is all about Sonic. Sonic? But yeah, this guy has just been doing all kinds of stuff on the MSX, and then as well as he's been contributing lately to Overclocked Remix, just a lot of remixes, especially a lot of Final Fantasy 9 remixes I've seen. I'll probably link some of his stuff so you can go check him out. Now, isn't it kind of silly that I'm just spending all this time on an unofficial Sonic game, more time than on the other Sonic stuff? Well, there's already been a lot of stuff on that other official Sonic stuff. But, VG Emporium, I'm here to supply you with the obscurities, just the weird stuff you wouldn't expect. That's why you go to an Emporium, Regular stores or shops, they have the stuff you'd expect, but you go to an Emporium because there's always just this weird, obscure things that you'll never, that exists? What is this doing here, man? What, you got this thing is covered in dust, I'm buying this, I'm taking it home with me, it's mine, this is cool. So that's the point of VG Emporium, to bring you just the weird stuff that you just won't expect. And now for something you expect. Sonic Mania, Studiopolis Act 2, composed by T. Lopez. That was Studiopolis Zone Act 2 from Sonic Mania, composed by T. Lopez, or T. Lopes. Or if you want to be linguistically correct, it is pronounced Lopish. And wackadoodle dandy, this game hit all the right spots. You know, and it's kind of funny that I'm featuring this right after a fan-made game from back in 1995, because, you know, this was made by a bunch of guys that, you know, started out by making fan games of Sonic, you know, like ROM hacks, all the way up to actual just like, you know, creating their own engines for it. So it's kind of a cool little jump and loop connection there. And I know this game isn't perfect. There's a lot, you know, there's some cracks in there, you know, especially, you know, like the bonus game, the Return of the Blue Balls. I mean, it didn't have to come back. The thing is stressful as hell. And, you know, some of the gameplay stuff, you know, a few things there. But hey, for the most part, you know, graphically, musically, just everything about the presentation is just like, just what you want. It's what everybody wanted from a Sonic game for so long. And the fact that it was made by fans that not only, you know, love these classic Sonic games, but understand them at a fundamental level is like just, you know, A++, double plus good. But we're here to talk about the music. So let me tell you about the music. Tell you about the guy who made the music, T. Lopez. See, you know, this guy, he got started making music with Music 2000, a very strange PlayStation 1 game where you could arrange sequences and create your own music that way. He would record that to his boombox through the PlayStation and give cassettes to friends. It's a really cool thing there. And then, of course, got into remixing video game music and especially Sonic music. And then, you know, all working all the way up to getting his big break doing Sonic Mania and all the music for that. And then he's also contributed to Streets of Rage 4, Mr. X's Revenge, to Metal Slug Tactics, and is now currently working on and or contributing music to Sonic Origins, which is a remaster of all Sonic 1, 2, CD, 3, and Knuckles. Unlike Sonic, he don't chuckle. Excuse me. Basically, the music in this game is just so good. You know, all the rearrangements, all the original music, just all that New Jack Swing goodness, those horn stabs. Just listen to that. There's some tasty brass. So now we're going to start winding down here. Going to end it like we started it with another handheld. I got you Cosmic Angel Zone from Sonic Advance, composed by Tatsuyuki Maeda and Yutaka Minobe. Oh man, even more horn stabs. That was Cosmic Angel Zone from Sonic Advance, composed by Tatsuyuki Maeda and Yutaka Minobe. And I'm going to just say right off the bat that this has to be one of my favorite Sonic games ever. Strange thing to say, but there it is. It's the truth. That could be in part be due to the fact that, it came to me at the right time in my life, maybe. It just, I had just moved to a new town, Placerville, where I'm living right now. I've been living here for the last 20 years. Yeah, I moved here right on the new year of 2002. And, I got this game. I didn't know anybody. I was, my dad was working almost all the time. And, yeah, I was just, it was just me and my Game Boy Advance. And, I got this game, Sonic Advance, and it... this alongside Mega Man Battle Network and Wario Land 4. Those were my thing. That's just and Sonic Advance was just, I don't know, something about it was just right. Could have been that combination of that classic Sonic gameplay, but with that modern Sonic look, and some of the modern Sonic implementations, like the air dash that you could do, and talking about the style of the game itself, it's pixel art, but it's kind of sketchy looking. I don't know how to explain it. It's just really eye-catching and appealing. Another big thing was the music. It was very different from what, you heard before compared to the classic Sonics, from the J-pop of the first two games to the New Jack Swing of 3 and Knuckles. And, it's just, something about it is just, I like it. I like the Game Boy Advance sound, even though, the samples are kind of that muddly sound, and the chip parts, the DMG squares and the wave are kind of a little warbly. I don't know how to. It's weird, but it just blends together so well between this game and Mega Man Battle Network. They caught the sound that the Game Boy Advance could do pretty well. That fine balance between chip and sample. And while I'm rambling on about the music, let's tell you about the composers. So, Tatsuyuki Maeda, He started out doing Golden Axe 3, then would contribute to Sonic & Knuckles 3, Super Columns, Daytona USA, all 3 of the Sonic Advance games, Skies of Arcadia, Shinobi on PS2, and then for Yutaka Minobe, he did J-League Pro 2, Sonic Adventure, Skies of Arcadia as well, Space Channel 5, and a lot of the modern Sonic games, like, so pretty much everything from, 2006 all the way up to now, I think. Probably even a little before that. And I had mentioned the, the other Sonic Advance games. I didn't really get to play 2 or 3 as much. I think mostly because I got obsessed with Mega Man Battle Network and all its sequels, so I didn't really branch out from that too much. But yeah, no, this first one, perfect little package. So yeah, circling back to the beginning with Sonic Pocket Adventure, that's kind of like the prototype for this game. Because like I mentioned earlier, it's most of the team from that game moved on to create Dimps along with some other people from Capcom, I believe. And just created that company and started making these games and a bunch of the other handheld Sonic games. And then a weird little fun fact here is that a friend of mine, he actually had a N-Gage, like the Nokia N-Gage, the weird little cell phone / game system that just, what was that thing? And it had its own version of this game on it. Like, it was the exact same game, just called, I think, what was it? Sonic Pocket. I can't remember what it was called, but, had the same music. It was just really compressed, like so. And it was just really weird because you had to use the buttons, and it was a small square screen as opposed to, the Game Boy Advance's nice, widescreen going on there. Yeah, it was a weird one, but hey, you play what you had. And so yeah, there's a romp through, some Sonic classics, some Sonic jams, some Sonic oddities, curiosities, and, and an interview with my Sonic-obsessed nephew. And, yeah, like I said, I may or may not have him on for the, the other acts, and I'm going to be doing an Act 2 and an Act 3. Act 2 is going to be featuring remixes of Sonic music. And then Act 3 is going to be original music inspired by the Sonic music. And there's a lot of it out there. A lot of it's good. A lot of it's really good. So yeah, I look forward to that. The Sonic fan community. There's a lot of really cool things that happen. There's a lot of really weird things that happen. And, you just watch it. Keep your distance sometimes, just, I don't know. I'm not part of any of it, but hey, it's their thing. As for me, being an uncle of a nephew that is obsessed with the character as much as he is right now, Sonic is probably going to be a part of my life until he either grows out of it or he's just going to keep with it. And who knows, maybe it might develop into something, maybe he might actually start doing art of it. Maybe he might actually get into the music of it. I don't know. He's only 6. We'll see how he grows. But for now, he is Songic Heghog and he runs fast. Though he has quite the big head, so I don't know how he could run that fast. Not very aerodynamic, that head of his. And so now we come to a close. And the spiel. And what is that spiel? Why, to tell you where you can find me. I am the proprietor of VG Emporium, Rage Cage, RAYJ, KAYJ, and you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud for original music stuffs. And, I host VG Emporium, which you can also find all those social medias, as well as on your favorite podcatchers, so Apple, Google, Stitcher, Amazon, Spotify. And hey, as I hear all the cool kids say, if you feel so inclined, you can leave a review on any of these things. And, let me know how I'm doing, let me know what you think of the show. It'd be kind of cool to kind of start seeing the feedback. It only took me 16 episodes to start bringing it up, but hey, I don't want to pressure anybody into anything. If you want to do it, you do it. If you don't, hey, that's cool too. You just, keep listening. Speaking of 16, I'm only 4 episodes away from being to number 20, which is pretty crazy to think I've already gotten this far. And I kind of have something pretty cool planned for it if I can get it all together by then. It's, kind of something that's going to be a subject that's kind of close to my heart. It was important for me from, good, chunk of my life here in the 2010s or so. So yeah, kind of hopefully I can get that together for you, and that'll be a pretty cool thing. And as for what I got planned for next week, I don't know. Just kind of flying at the seat of my pants and on the edge of my chair. Just winging it like this entire show. It's all just improv, not scripted or anything. It's just doing it. That open mic host in me is just kind of taking over. And now before I say goodbye, if you're feeling blue, go look up Dr. Robotnik from the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. That'll cheer you right up. Okay, bye. Go for it.
Hi.
You just gonna look at me with that weird mug?
What the heck? What are you doing?
I don't know. What are you doing?
Trying to look at the camera. What are you doing?
There's no camera. The camera's off. There's no camera. It's just audio.
I got a camera at my house.
We are, well, actually at Grandma's house right now, so you're not right. You're not wrong. That's a good thing.